Today I'm testing out Koala Writer as a bulk creation tool. Now, manually, I've actually found a good way to use ChatGPT for AI content creation that still scores perfect surfer results. See my other videos on my channel for how this works, but it's the powerlevermethod.com/prompt. Basically takes your keyword, works out how many separate prompts you're actually going to require because of the ChatGPT character limit, and then uses the language, entities from Surfer, and Q&As, and gives you the perfect prompt to create basically content scores of 80 or 90 within 10 minutes of work with ChatGPT. But this is still quite manual, and you've still got to train a team to do it. Now, what I'm looking to achieve is actually to build a mass content creation tool like Koala, auto-blogging AI, that still fulfills all these Surfer requirements. I think within the next 2 years, we're seeing major shifts in SEO. The barrier to entry has come down a lot. And so good quality content at mass volume is going to become key. But the way I see it is that 90% of people will still be pumping out low quality content using earlier forms of AI without any on-page optimization, without internal links, and without focusing on link building. Whereas I've got a link building agency, I've got a portfolio of expired domains and easy access to more expired domains. So the idea is, can we pump out en masse really high volume, really high quality content that still scores high on Surfer? Now, one of the tools I've had recommended for this is Koala Writer. So I signed up at just the basic essentials plan, and the limit of this is that with GPT-4, it 5 times is the amount of word count usage. This is a bit disappointing as I do actually have access to the GPT-4 API, which would be a lot cheaper. But fair enough, at least Koala is able to make GPT-4 available to people who don't have the API access. So first, before I test out the bulk tools, I just want to see what is the basic quality of Koala Writer. So I want the AI-powered SEO optimization. This is basically like Surfer that goes out and looks at competitors. Confident, neutral, and clear. English US. This all sounds very good. We want to use real-time search results. That looks really powerful. Cite sources. Yes, this could actually be a really powerful change in the internet, actually. So we've often had this thing that we've all been told that Google likes to link out to authoritative sources. So actually, if you rank really well with your page, then actually you tend to get a lot of backlinks from people knowing that they need to link to you as a trusted authoritative source. Outline editor. No, I'm not worried about that because I want speed and power. Outline prompt. No, I don't think I'm going to worry about these. And so my keyword, I'm going to use best camera for yoga videos. And I can put it into Surfer afterwards to see how it actually scores. So GPT-4, blog post, yes. Target keyword, best camera for yoga videos. AI-powered optimization, SEO tone, US language. Now for this, I require 3,000 words. So this one article is probably going to take up my full Koala allowance. I'm currently on the essentials plan. That gives me, I think, 15,000 words. So that should squarely reach that. So potentially this could be quite an expensive article. I mean, it's $9, but let's see. It's going to be interesting to see how Koala scales their pricing. So for bulk generation, you need to work out the quality. There's a tool like auto-blogging AI, which I think can be cheaper, but how is the quality? And that's what we need to explore here. Okay, I'm trying to make sure this is all correct because I've only got one shot at this before I have to sign up for a higher plan. Okay, let's go. Of course, we're also conscious of timing. Now, you can hook up Koala Writer to WordPress, which is great. Same as auto-blogging AI. That's what you really need in a tool like this. We want to minimize any human contact whatsoever. The whole reason I'm exploring these options, I was already keen to, but one of my VAs who I was trying to train on my ChatGPT process has been unreliable. So I basically want to take the humans out of the process as much as possible so that we can focus on the strategic side rather than the execution. So the joy of bulk creation is, of course, you close the laptop and this all goes on in the background. Okay, normally I'd pause the video at this point, but I think it's important you see how long this actually takes. So in the meantime, I'll fill this in by saying, do check out my channel, hit the like button below, and do feel free to subscribe. I'm quite open about all the latest tactics in SEO, especially for coaching and consulting brands. That's because, like Alex Mosey says, I believe that you might as well give away all the execution or all the strategy for free, rather, wrong way around. Give away all the strategy and techniques, because what I sell is the execution. I'm quite happy to share my knowledge for other people to implement, but I'm also there should you need any help with that implementation. The interesting thing is here that normally my surfer process using my prompt generator takes 7 to 10 minutes to produce a perfect article. So I'm intrigued to see how Koala Writer compares. Obviously, that's with me doing a lot of manual clicking, whereas at least this was one setup and just left. And if it can do it in bulk, then even better. If the quality is good with this, then I'm going to try out the bulk tool and subscribe to a higher plan. I'll also be testing out other languages, because I think the biggest opportunity with the new AIs is actually other languages. I suspect 80 to 90% of people who use these tools are just going to use them very simply and just keep pumping out standard content targeting the US market. Whereas in reality, foreign markets have actually become a lot easier now. They tend to be using older Google algorithms, so they tend to be quite easy to manipulate. Plus, generally, competition seems to be lower there anyway. Now, for years, there's been a technique of basically scraping US English language search results and translating them into other languages. But of course, translating a page isn't necessarily perfect SEO optimization. Okay, we're nearly there now. Okay, so it looks like all that I was doing before was purely that research, visiting those other web pages. So this is looking very exciting. But yes, with the English language, I would say that, yeah, with the AIs, there's now a huge scope to basically create Surfer or other correlational tool templates specifically targeting search results in foreign languages, and then using the AI to actually write in those languages natively, targeting those unique entities, because the search results for best camera in the US are going to be different to best camera in Germany. Equally, there's nuances in language that translations can't pick up. So it might be terminology that a native writer understands that a translation tool doesn't, whereas ChatGPT, based on its training data, should be able to get those nuances. So that's another test I've got coming up. If you subscribe to my channel, then it'll be straight in your inbox, where we test out just how good is ChatGPT with other languages and other AI tools like this. So can you create bulk AI SEO content targeting foreign languages? Now let's have a look at this article. It's steadily getting through. So essential features, this is really good. Now, obviously this is doing this fast rather than perfect. Normally I would say put the top product roundups actually at the top, as this is an affiliate article, rather than the requirements. Shout out to my friends at Authority Hacker, Gail and Mark. They always recommend that. So products at the top just for conversion purposes, and then your quality SEO content underneath, where you talk about what are the requirements that actually went into that review. Now, the really fascinating thing is going to be how it actually does the product articles, because that's the limitation with tools like ChatGPT, where obviously they're based on training data. That's still a fairly limited, it's huge data set, but it's still limited. And at the moment, it only goes up to 2021. So new products tend to be quite weak. Whereas one of the pros of tools like Koala Writer, they specifically advertise they will actually go out and scrape places like Amazon to find the latest information. Okay, this is a really nice format, actually, top cameras for different budgets. That's really good, both from an SEO perspective and just a user experience and conversion aspect. It's generally recommended. I read a book probably about 3-4 years ago that said your top 3 products shouldn't just be the top 3 products. It should be the premium option for the ballers who don't care about the money. They just want the best option. It should be a budget pick for people who can't afford much but want the best option for their price range, the best value. and then an all-rounder editor's pick, which combines the best of both. So don't just go for, if there are 10 cameras, go for the top 3, which are probably also the most expensive. It's nice actually embedding those sources within the anchor text. It's interesting. It's technically linking to competitors. So this is a Tech Radar article. They're an affiliate site, so they'll be getting commissions from that. I bet if you use the Amazon function, then it'll link to Amazon. But personally, I wouldn't worry about Amazon. There's much better affiliate programs out there that pay much more. I'm not even looking at this necessarily for affiliate purposes, but it's interesting that it's definitely going for competitor, expert photography. That's a clear competitor. That's another affiliate website. So I'm sure there's a way to train it slightly differently. But that's quite interesting just for the future of SEO. If tools like Koala are deliberately linking out to your competitors, then whoever's ranking at the moment and sooner is going to be getting a lot of links from these automated tools. Now, length here is looking really good. Obviously, there's far longer. We're up to 1,000 words. We need 3,000. Even with my ChatGPT prompt generator, despite taking the word count and splitting it into the number of sections required, there's still a lot of the time ChatGPT fails to understand that we need often 5 separate prompts in order to fulfill the full word count. So even though I'm still getting a really high content score of 80, 90, quite often I'm only getting a half to 2/3 of the word count, which is not a great problem, but it can be difficult, especially the Surfer's got this really powerful feature called insert terms, where if you put the finished article into Surfer, it'll generally do very well if you use the prompt generator, because the prompt tells ChatGPT to use all the entities, all the recommendations from Surfer here. So it tends to score quite well, but if you then click insert terms, Surfer itself will go through and try and add in as many of these as possible. So that typically takes an article from around 60, 70 up to the 80s and 90s. So that's really powerful. But to do that, you need, I think it's 50% of the word count at least in order to trigger that. So this requires 3,000 words. If you come in with 1,200 words, that's not enough and it won't be able to do it. So you miss out on a lot of extra power that way. But that doesn't seem to be the case with Koala. We're up to 1,300 words. Now remember, I'm only on the Essentials plan, currently $9 a month, which gives me 15,000 words. But the way the credits work, GPT-4, which I found is significantly better than 3.5. I don't use ChatGPT 3.5 at all. I rely on 4 for everything. So I think it's worth the extra cost. But with Koala, GPT-4 is 5 times the credit cost of GPT-3. So a 3,000 word article is actually going to take me 15,000 words of Koala credits. And funny enough, that's exactly what I get in the Essentials plan. So while that's working in the background, let's have a look at the pricing. So basically, we need to look at all these word counts and divide them by 5. So for 350 a month, that's 200,000 words with Koala Writer with GPT-4. So that's not actually bad going. So 200,000 words, that's basically that's 200 1,000 word articles. So it's 100 2,000 word articles, which tends to be about the average. So 100 articles for $350 a month. I know a lot of SEOs who basically they tend to be quite cheap. I think a lot of us are attracted to SEO because you can get really big results with minimal budget, especially a few years ago. But I wouldn't shy away from something like 350 a month for that much power. For Surfer, as soon as I was happily using a plan of Surfer that gave me 100 content editors a month. But ever since the AIs came out and we've been churning out far more content, I happily upgraded that to a much more higher price tier. And it's the same thing with Koala. I think there's a lot of value there. So for 35-ish times the cost of Essentials, that's 15,000 words, and that's 1,000,000 words. So let me just get out a calculator. So 1 million words. So that's 0.00035 cents per word. Whereas if we look at essentials, that's 0.006 cents per word. Now, I'm getting confused here. Anyway, we'll leave it for now. Okay, let's have a look at how that's performing. So it's still going. We're including all the setup. I think we're up to about 12 minutes now of generation. But let's not forget, this is not just the standard ChatGPT approach. In fact, this article is actually really comprehensive. It's looking at different use cases, talk about different lenses. I think one slightly disappointing thing here, at least so far, because let's see, we're 2/3 through the article now. It's surprising that it hasn't actually just gone through and listed camera models. Yeah, it's done pretty well here, but it's only got a couple of lines for each, whereas maybe it's based on those particular search results. But traditionally, for an affiliate roundup like this, you'd be looking at a good couple of hundred words for each, basically a mini review of each camera. Whereas here, the products are quite minimal. It's much more about recording and editing tips. Let's look at the contextualization. They do keep on talking about yoga, because I've deliberately gone for quite a niche article here. So the idea is, does the AI understand that we've got a very specific use case? So we need to be talking about studio lighting, and so it keeps on bringing up yoga poses, yoga space. But yeah, I think that's reasonably compelling. But it seems to be finished. So we're up to 2,236 words. There's a download option there. It can also just export directly to WordPress, which is the best thing for the bulk tool. Let's see what happens if I just copy this and put it straight into Surfer. Okay, so we've currently got a content score of 45. Now the average is 57 and the top is 67. So I was kind of expecting better, to be honest. But like I said, we've got the insert terms function, so let's see how that does. Okay, in this case, technically you should review each of the individual suggestions by just do accept, 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 accept. Okay, so we're up to 65. Now, I'm actually going to try and compare this side to side with my normal ChatGPT process, which doesn't use Koala. The limitation of that is obviously it's not a bulk solution. So if we say we want 3,000 words, best camera for yoga videos, language USA, Now I'm going to copy all this and just put it somewhere safe. And then take all the entities from Surfer. And then we want the questions and answers. Tone, I'll just go with SEO. That tends to work well. ChatGPT understands when it's told to write an SEO tone, it should be comprehensive, but also quite long and rambly. Desired action. And yours today. If you don't want CTA, you can just leave a space to ignore that. So this calculator then spits out my what I currently regard as my perfected ChatGPT prompt, but I intend to keep improving it over time. So now we fire up ChatGPT. Like I say, make sure if you're on GPT-4, it's a significantly better quality, and was it $20 a month, something like that? Now, sometimes this prompt does include the prompt to actually use headings, and sometimes it gets it and it correctly formats the headings, just like Koala Writer has done. But sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, it's giving me the individual HTML, which isn't actually very effective. It's quite annoying. So, like I say, it's a bit random. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Now, already I'm obviously noticing that the Koala Writer seems far more well-informed than my ChatGPT prompting, and that's because it's gone out to the internet and actually looked at other expert reviews. That's why it spent it was a good 5 minutes or so it spent just crawling the internet before it actually started writing, whereas ChatGPT is just riffing off its training data. So this feels a lot more beginner, a lot more entry level. So we're getting some product recommendations here. Interestingly, that they're not the same as Koala. Again, there's an existential argument for the internet here, and obviously search results have been for a long time shaped by affiliate commissions, which therefore means that obviously all the other bloggers in that niche have to copy that same sort of framework. That definitely used to happen with SEMrush. I remember people talking about it, that SEMrush had a 40% lifetime recurrent commission, even though at the time everyone preferred Ahrefs. Now, if you look at the best SEO tools, then SEMrush would be number one for all of them. Now, Google uses basically NLP, which is, as you can see in Surfer, basically all that means is you need to include the same topics, the same entities, and cover the same subjects as your competition in order to rank on Google, because that's how Google understands how comprehensive you are. So in my case, I work with a lot of coaches. Now, if I wrote an article on the best business coaches, I should probably mention Tony Robbins. If I don't, then Google's not going to see that article as being very comprehensive. So that's basically how Surfer works. Now, in this case, it's ChatGPT has run out of word count, and we simply say next. But to get back to what I was saying, you have these all these entities you have to include. So what I'm intrigued by is that if all these AIs are out there basically copying off each other, there's probably a big opportunity at the moment to basically shape the future internet based on what's currently ranking. It's basically an acceleration of what we've already had for years now. We've just had outsourced writers going out, reading the competing articles, and then writing a review based on that. Well, this is going to scale it up much faster, and especially with tools like Koala Writer actually linking out to competitors as resources, that could be very interesting. So it seems like if you are a product owner, then definitely get on those. If you can reach out to the people who are currently ranking for your product and set up an affiliate partnership with them, get you ranking high up on them, that could be a really good investment. Because if you're number one on all those pages, then all these AI tools are also going to recommend you as number one. Oh geez, this has gone for webcams. Whereas I feel like Koala went with much more of the specialist DSLR route. Okay, that section's finished. Now we say next again. Now, in this prompt, it does tell ChatGPT to answer the FAQs, but then also provide those answers in a JSON format, which gives us FAQ schema, which basically means on the search results on Google, you'll see those little FAQ drop downs on the search results. And that's a nice little extra touch. It's much more engaging, gives you better click-through rates, plus it also pushes your competitors a bit further down. So, and it's very specifically told in the prompt that you should only provide the JSON after you finish the article. So you know this prompt generator is finished when it starts giving you the JSON format. Interesting. So we're getting some proper Canon DSLRs here. Have they actually been mentioned? This is much more about webcams. Oh, there's a Canon there. Oh, and a Sony. Right. Okay, here's the JSON. So basically, traditionally with FAQ schema, if like me, you don't really know how to code, then you'd have to use a separate plugin like Rank Math in order to manually format the FAQ schema, which basically meant copy and pasting the question and then copy and pasting the FAQ into a Gutenberg, the answer into a Gutenberg block. And that was just annoying, not very scalable. So with this tool, I was specifically looking for something that could be in bulk. So this simply needs to go straight into a HTML block, and that should give you that JSON format. You can tell it's working because it won't show on the front end. If you see a load of code, then it's not working. Try a different block. So it looks like this is nearly finished. That looks like it. So now we just copy all of that. You've got to be very careful when you go into Surfer because it will take your email address and profile picture from your prompting and paste that in. So I think there's a big scope for the future of spam to be basically taking people's email addresses from their ChatGPT content. So we're trying to beat 65 with Koala. So if we delete all that, right, so we're already up to 57. That's pretty good. We need to take out my prompting. This is a slightly annoying manual bit. It doesn't require expensive software like Koala. There's another one there. Obviously, it's also a big footprint to Google that you're using ChatGPT. When it doesn't format the headings, you need to remember to put in the H1. Obviously, that's a massive ranking factor. So we're already up to 65. Of course, that H1 needs to include the keyword, which it has. We do insert terms. I haven't even put in the H2s yet. Yeah, we're already up to 65. And I think, just looking at the timer, I think we're actually doing faster with ChatGPT than Koala. But of course, ChatGPT can't be done in bulk. So what I'm intrigued to find out is how Koala compares to a tool like Autoblogging AI. So like this video, subscribe. We'll do that comparison next. Okay, accept. 67. So we're already ahead of Koala, and I haven't even put in the H2s yet. Obviously, you need to remove these H2 tags. I'm not going to do that for now, though, just for speed. And we're up to 74. ChatGPT's got a bit confused trying to put in H1s at the start of each new prompt. There's always a bit of manual editing required. Intriguingly, I think the output quality, as in human readability, was actually much better with Koala. That crawling the internet and looking at competitors was clearly very good, very powerful. Whereas this feels much more generic. So it's going to be interesting in the future of search. Will Google actually be smart enough to tell that including all these entities and fulfilling all the search requirements, being a perfect on-page article, how does that compare with a better human-readable article? I mean, you could argue that you can look at things like the dwell time, bounce rates, etc., but those can all be manipulated. You can use tools like CTR manipulation to make sure that you get the best engagement and click-through rate on your article, so that can be gained. Not forgetting using things like microworkers, where you have people in countries abroad just manually searching and clicking and reading your site. That's one tactic if you've got a high-value niche. But yeah, my friend Carl Roof, obviously very famously, was able to manipulate Google using lorem ipsum. So he did a page of content with just his keyword distributed very strategically throughout a page of lorem ipsum, and was able to rank that #1. So there's a big argument that Google can't read your pages, no matter what people say about it. It's all about quality content. Quality content basically means fulfilling the criteria that Google sets out. So that's how Kyle then built Page Optimizer Pro, very similar tool to Surfer, where it's all about looking at those keywords and how they distributed throughout the article. So with a few titles, you can see we're up to 75. And like I said, my chat generator isn't great. It's only given me 1,700 words, which is half the requirement, but it was enough to trigger the insert terms function, and the overall content score is actually better than any of the competitors. The top result is 67. So we'll see. Obviously, it's a very fast pace of change here, but in terms of timing, it was actually same amount of time basically for me to actually use my manual ChatGPT process. But of course, that does require someone to be on the ball operating it. Whereas for my purposes, I'm talking about basically mass page generation. I suspect a tool like Koala could be very powerful if you're using one of the higher level tiers, where you get better value on the pricing. Because that article cost me $9 to produce. Obviously, I was on the lowest plan, so it's never going to be that economical. But same amount of time, ChatGPT, $20 a month, plus a bit of my time, versus, Koala, which was $9 for that tool. So the bulk generation is very tempting, but the issue we've got is it's not fulfilling the surfer requirements, at least in this specific case. So what I need to find out is how other tools, potentially cheaper tools like Autoblogging AI, compare with that. Are they actually cheaper for bulk creation to the same sort of standard? Also, later this month, we've got Surfer AI launching, which I believe is going to basically automate this process that I've done manually of using the Surfer recommendations. If that enables us to produce perfect Surfer content in bulk, then that'll easily be the best tool out on the internet. So subscribe to my channel. I've got some links below with some free resources for you. But check back soon. I'll be doing further investigation to what is the future of SEO. How can you use this opportunity of the next couple of years where the world is your oyster? There's potentially a huge amount of power if you use the AI to your advantage.